So today we're talking about The Witch's Familiar, which is the second episode of Series 9 of Doctor Who, featuring Peter Capaldi as the Doctor. And in this episode, Stephen Moffat actually did something incredible. He actually solved the plot hole. Great job, Stephen Moffat, because you rarely do that. So, we finally got the answer to how Missy survived back in the end of Series 8, which I think is pretty good, since Stephen Moffat is really great at basically creating plot holes that are never solved, and he actually resolved this one. So it was sort of a use of teleportation at the exact moment of being shot. Yeah. So, one more thing I realized, which is pretty funny, is that Skaro in this one is filmed on one of the Canary Islands, Tenerife. I don't know how it's pronounced in English, or Tenerife or something. And on a volcano in the center of it called Teide, in Swedish at least. And what's pretty funny about that is that I've actually been there. Because of a sci-fi show, because it was a location for another TV series I watched, which is from Sweden, a sci-fi series called Milky Way 5A, where they visit the desert planet Saltsea, which was filmed at the exact same spot as Skaro, which I think is pretty funny actually, that 15 years earlier a Swedish show used the same place as a location for another planet, though that planet that they visited in the other series was essentially an uninhabited desert planet and not Skaro, where the Daleks live. Yeah, so, well, we found out how Missy survived. We also got some things that weren't so good. Well, since you might remember, we saw that the sonic screwdriver had been destroyed over the years, that Davros had it since he was a child. And yeah, why Stephen Moffat decided to create the sonic sunglasses? Yeah, the sonic sunglasses was just, why Stephen Moffat, why did you destroyed the sonic screwdriver, which has happened before and was a good thing since then it didn't become this magic tool that got you out of situations. But you replace it with a sonic device instantly, and it's sunglasses. Really? Really? Yeah. So, I don't really like that at all. Because, well, you destroy an iconic device and try to replace it instantly with something which I feel is just stupid. Yeah. What else? Well, we keep going on about Missy being the sexy character, which is basically just because it's a woman, and I feel it's Stephen Moffat of portraying female characters. And I mean, the Master was nothing like that, but it's changed now since the Master became Missy, which I don't like either. And, well, Clara was trapped inside the Dalek, which, well, was a pretty good thing, and it was pretty well done, but still, yeah, it just became sort of, yeah, losing the logic with the way that the Dalek essentially transformed her speech into well, essentially into Dalek speech. Because, I mean, before we had Clara way back in Series 7, when she was trapped inside a Dalek and could communicate with the Doctor, and it was no problem even though she was inside the Dalek. So you created another plot hole there, Stephen Moffat. But still, yeah, everything got resolved. We had a weird moment where it was like, oh, the Doctor and me are friends, and which led to, oh no, I tricked him, and, well, that was pretty much what I think was actually something good, because, no, not the part at the end where we had Child Davros again, where the Doctor saved Davros as a child. I mean, sure, it would be a good idea, since it made the plot more, well, I shouldn't really say that the plot was more explained by that, but still, yeah, it somehow helped with the thing that a Dalek can use the word mercy, because the Doctor had implanted it in the child version of Davros. But still, what made them enemies if the Doctor actually saved Davros? That is the part I don't understand. And that is why, if they became sort of friends there by the Doctor saving Davros when he was a child, then it would have made more sense if they actually reached the point of sort of being friends at the end of Davros' life, instead of, oh, I tricked you, Doctor, I'm still evil, muhaha part. So, yeah. I don't have much to say about this episode, except I didn't like this one at all. So, I'm gonna rate it stupidly because of something stupid. So, this episode gets 3 out of 12 Sonic sunglasses. Yeah. Well, one thing I want to say before I end this episode is that Stephen Moffat has been involved in the show for too long, and he's starting to become worse than JNT. And JNT really was a great producer, but he had too much control over the show sometimes, and Stephen Moffat, I feel right now, is worse than that. Because, well, because that John Nathan Turner actually made something good, even though he was the producer for 9 years, and Stephen Moffat has been involved with the show for the past, well, 10 years now. Stephen Moffat, you've been working with it for too long, you need to step down. And, I mean, John Nathan Turner wanted to step down, but no one else would take the place, and I think that we could get a great person to be the new showrunner instead of Stephen Moffat if he stepped down. Because right now you're just making sort of, you need to make episodes that the audience want to watch, not that you want to watch, just because you might think you're a genius, Stephen Moffat, when it comes to Doctor Who, but you're not, essentially. And the Doctor and the Master isn't about love to another human being. They're living their life on their own. There shouldn't be so much love, and making the Master sexy is just unnecessary just because it's a woman. And by that, I'm gonna end this episode. And I'm a bit sad and disappointed of this episode. The Witch is familiar. I'll see you next week and hope we get a better episode on the next Saturday. Adios!